Hey guys, welcome back to Monday Night Pod. My name is Jeremy Jacobowitz. I'm here with my tag team partner, Adam Welby.
Hey, yo.
And this is the podcast all about the Monday Night Wars, all about the battles between WWF Raw and WCW Nitro. Each and every single week, we go back in time and we re-review in order when Raw went head-to-head with Nitro. And then we pick a winner, and at the end of the day, hopefully we'll decide who really should have won the Monday Night Wars. But Adam, why should people listen to what we have to say?
Because they're getting to see how closely it felt to live in the moment when you saw two wrestling shows going up head-to-head on a weekly basis, and how all it offered was zero toxicity and the discussions about them. It offered total understanding of the products as they were going on, and nothing petty going on at all, as is discussed every week right here on Monday Night Pod.
Usually I say that's true. I don't think that's true, but that's okay. But either or. Also, we both used to work at WWE. We both used to work at a WWE tape library. We both used to work at a place that has shown a lot on Raw tonight that we're going to watch. And our jobs are to watch all of wrestling. So we've watched a ton of it, more than you. And if you're listening to this, I'm sure you're a wrestling nerd. And I promise you that it was our job. We had to watch more than you. And all that stuff doesn't exist anywhere. It's not even on the network. It's not even on YouTube.
It's
we
true.
Saw it.
You know what else? I'm willing to offer people like time served in a way. If you listen to Monday Night Pod, then and you're trying to add up to your total amount of hours of wrestling that you've watched, you can go ahead and when you have one episode of Monday Night Pod, you can equate that to 3 hours of Nitro and Raw in 1996. I'm allowing that to slide for now, I think. Just because of how insanely detailed of a recap we like to give, Jeremy.
That's true. We power through it a little bit because thank God. I mean, I guess we'll save our end thoughts at the end. But it's I guess what I'm feeling generally as we head into this is we're getting there. We made the turn of god awful wrestling.
Yes.
But we're not there yet at peak Monday Night Wars, what we all remember. But the signs are there.
Yeah, we've gotten past the inconsequential times of when there was one side who was clearly not admitting that there was any sort of competition going on, who was just happy to let things slide as things had been. But yeah, real exciting. Really excited to get into that today. Pretty consequential Raw. So, and Nitro. We'll get to it.
Let's do it. Why wait? Let's go, Adam. This is October 28th, 1996, and this is episode 182 of Raw. And we are once again taping the War Memorial Coliseum in Fort Wayne, Indiana. To open the show, we see clips of Austin destroying Brian Pillman's knee at the Superstars episode over the weekend. They tease interviews with both Bret and Austin. And plus, tonight in the main event, it's HBK versus British Bulldog. Big night ahead. But we open the show with the real Double J, not Chef Jarrett, as Vince McMahon accidentally calls him, the real Double J, Jesse James, versus Salvatore Sincere. Ooh, this match goes 4 minutes. Obviously, Jesse James making his debut as this character, the new Double J. We see footage of him in the Army. To begin the match, which they teased last week.
Yep.
We learned that Brian Pillman is going to need another ankle surgery, and a pump handle slam ends it. Not yet doggy style, but the pump handle slam is there.
Yeah. Then we get our second look at Salvatore Sincere on Raw.
It's just number 2. I feel like he's been a jobber a bunch of times.
No, I think it's just number 2. I think last time we saw him against Triple H in a really long match. That was way longer than it was supposed to be. That was the one where Triple H just kind of walked off after Mr. Perfect.
Okay.
and still didn't lose.
We didn't see Salvatore versus Taker. Why does that ring a bell?
I don't know. Okay, well, if we did, then it's no more than our third time seeing this.
Okay, fair.
It does ring a bell, though. No, you're saying it. But yeah, this crowd seemed pretty into Jesse James. I'm not a big fan of the pump handle slam as a finisher. I don't know how you.
Whatever. I mean, I guess that became his finisher forever, right? So
sure did.
It worked.
Yeah.
I don't think it beat that many people. but it worked.
Look, if I go back into my Salvatore, I can search my notes that I've taken on Raw and SmackDown. I've been doing this whole thing, and my only two mentions of my notes of Salvatore Sincere are from September 9th, 1996, where he faced. Let's take a look. Oh boy. Yep, The Undertaker. You got it. You did it. Oh, who am I thinking that faced Triple H in like a long match that was too long? Oh well, whatever.
I don't know.
Second mention, October 28th.
Well, what was the first? Maybe that was it.
I'm only seeing it twice in my notes, my friends.
Oh, you mean including this week's? I see.
Yeah. So,
all right, well, there you go. Second time. So we were both right and wrong at the same time.
Hot finish. Kidding.
There it is.
All right. Way to start the show here.
It was fine. It's more, you're debuting a new character, gets a big win. I have no problems with it.
Yeah, it's not a win over what's his name? Oh God, I'm not hitting my stride here today. Over guy who's constantly feuding with Stone Cold.
Savio Vega.
There it is. God dang it! I was going with the S in my head because and it like totally knocked me off my. Yeah, he's not our usual debut that way. And then also it was a more one-sided match for Double J. Kind of getting me show off to the crowd.
Get him a strong win, then you build him up to guys like Savio.
That's right. Yeah, he can't come straight out of the gate at Savio like what is he, Crush?
Exactly. Next up, we go to Doc, who's in the WWF Studios to give us a little preview of Survivor Series. Obviously, he's talking about the Hall of Fame. He's talking about some matches. But remember, Austin has been teased to be live from the WWF Studios. And Austin comes and cuts him off and yells about the Hall of Fame. He's like, oh, who gives a shit? I'm here. Talk about Austin. So he yells at him and then walks off. Doc just continues, and he tells us Survivor Series card. Austin then comes back and yells that Bret gets to do interview from Calgary, but he's forced to fly to Connecticut. Oh, I see. Bret gets to do it for Calgary. I got to fly all the way to Connecticut. I see how it is, Austin.
Oh man,
I'm not gonna be able to continue the podcast if I keep doing Austin's voice.
Your voice is gonna be. I'm gonna have to do Nitro all by myself. Plan on doing this. My God, when I was seeing this, I wasn't prepared for fully how much Stone Cold we're gonna get in this episode, but I got really excited because I was like, oh, this is gonna be our first time really of getting like a unhinged Stone Cold throughout the whole episode. This is gonna be our first episode that's like Stone Cold focused and him in that character. So we're in for a ride tonight.
We are. Just to give context where they are, like I said at the top of the show, is where we worked. We did super work there. So basically that's a W studio. So when you drive up Connecticut on 95, you see WWF headquarters, which are off the highway. You can't miss it.
It's the one with the logo.
Yes, Vince McMahon has put a giant fucking logo on top of the building, Titan Tower. If you drive down the street 3 minutes is where the studio is. And then behind this, so that's where Austin was. And then behind the studio was a trailer that I doubt is still there, but was there when we had to work there. So we were locked in a trailer all day behind the studios.
Yeah, more specifically, if you go behind the studio, there's a parking lot where our trailer was at one point that we worked through the winter.
But there was other cool... I was gonna say there was other cool stuff in the parking lot besides our trailer.
Oh yeah. Let's talk a little about what was back there.
I believe the light that was it Cena put Big Show through at WrestleMania.
Big spotlight that Big Show put Cena through.
Oh, Big Show. Okay, sorry. Yes.
Cena looked like he died and then was back the next day.
Yes. Well, that's a lot.
Two or
that was there.
Real miracle resurrections.
I believe was it the Corvette that Austin put the cement into? Wasn't that there too?
Sure. There is a Corvette in the parking lot behind the studios of WWE. I'm telling you, people, this is there. It is
or at least it was there when we worked there.
Sure. In 2011, it is there, filled with concrete. No joke. It is like full. No, not kayfabing. It's a shoot, brother. There's a shoot concrete filled Corvette behind the WWE Studios that has been there, I guess, since the Monday Night Wars. So,
yeah.
I mean, when we were there, we'd look at those giant things and we'd be like, why are these just sitting here? Like, they should just put them on eBay. I don't care. Someone would buy them.
Well, I think they brought them around for WrestleMania. They would bring it to, like, for the whatever they call that, access.
Oh, well, the car, the cement-filled car, I do not remember being, like, under anything, being protected from the elements.
Yeah, it was just out.
Both these things were just out. So, that's kind of silly. But anyway, in 1996, Stone Cold is there just fucking shit up.
Yeah. But we come back to the arena. So what's interesting is all that stuff was live. They kept saying it was live, and I believe it was live. Because remember, King and Vince do live commentary for these Raws. I lost my light. Sorry, guys. 1 second. Do commentary for these Raws. So I believe Austin legitimately was live.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, of everything that they needed to cut together, it would make sense. And it did have, I mean, of course, we can always chalk it up to Stone Cold being Stone Cold, but it did have the kind of energy that you want to see and that we do end up seeing from more live segments. Whenever we have one of these that's cut, it gets super, like, it's just from where it starts and where it ends. It's too, like, on the nose. It's too right there. It's too perfect. And this was not that. This was that Stone Cold live trash talking feel.
But we do come back for arena for next match. But it's the aforementioned Crush with Clarence Mason versus Aldo Montoya. This match goes 2 minutes and 45 seconds. They pretty much ignore it the whole time because Mark Miro calls in to talk about the perfect swerve from last week. JR comes in commentary, so you know that what's going to happen now. Oh God,
we're in angry bitching JR mode.
He's like, oh, finally have me on it.
I'm gonna be out here for a main event. You hear me for the curtain jerker.
What's funny is I thought I was going to go back and watch a pay-per-view last episode. I didn't, but I went back this week and watched a little bit more. And I forgot that, first of all, 2 things. I texted you immediately. 2 things we totally screwed up because we didn't watch the pay-per-view was, 1, Austin did not face Savio Vega because I believe Savio got hurt. So at the last second, they put in Hunter Hearst Helmsley to face Austin. So I remember we were like, why didn't they talk about that match? Because the match of Austin and Savio Vega, they didn't talk about it last week because it didn't happen. They didn't mention that Austin faced Hunter Hearst Helmsley, but whatever. But also, that was a pay-per-view where they like purposely did all these things to fuck up JR's mic. So like he gets on there, it sounds like for 2 matches straight, they're doing everything they can to fuck with JR, and he thinks it's like a big conspiracy theory. And it's just like they just ignore the match. They're literally cut to JR being upset rather than focusing on the match, which is insane.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's what they did tonight too.
Yeah, they really think that they've got money with this, like fucking with JR. You know, like it's funny. I don't think. I mean, obviously JR wasn't the lovable character that he is now. That everyone loves JR for being good old JR. He's relatively new around WWF for a second stint here at this point. But
third
like
stint, I think, right? Or whatever.
Maybe. But like, who's thinking that like you're going to get the crowd to not take his side on this? You know?
I just don't understand what does it lead to?
Yeah. Well,
what's the point?
Maybe it's supposed to have something to do with them actually thinking for like a couple of weeks that fake Diesel and fake Razor had legs. Maybe that's what they thought. And then like this would be a good way to keep JR in the middle of things and hot and have an excuse to get them on TV other than just being petty and being like, oh God, look, we got Diesel. We got, yeah, you know, we got Razor. It doesn't have the payoff that you're hoping for in the end, you know, kind of like we would talk with Jimmy Hart. But even Jimmy Hart at least takes a bump every now and then.
Yeah, but at least he's like actually representing wrestlers that like lead to something. What if JR like sort of brought out Razor and Diesel, but that's been forgotten about already.
Yeah.
So now what's the point? Anyway, JR announces that Clarence Mason is now representing Farouk. And my only note for this is Crush like picks up Aldo and just like presses him and throws him out of the ring, which is such a rough bump to take. Anyway, Heart Punch by Crush ends it. JR yells that this match wouldn't hurt McMahon. That move wouldn't hurt Vince because he doesn't have a heart. And then
right. Yeah. Good burn, JR. The whole Crush thing, man. They're not treating him like a star at all. And then, well, as I'm sure you're about to get into, we get into, I think, what is our first time hearing about this gimmick on Raw. Him getting so basically, I'll lead us into it. So after the match, Crush is at ringside, and they're hinting that like Crush can't handle people calling him a jailbird.
Yeah, they gave everyone signs that said jailbird, like a fucking 2-year-old wrote it.
Yeah. They're saying, "Oh God, he's gonna go nuts. He's gonna go crazy." They keep saying jailbird, and then they have the fan holding jailbird right behind him, but Crush reaches over and grabs a security guard who at first I thought was a fan and starts beating the hell out of him. Yeah, and then Vince is going, that's gonna be a lawsuit, and like, but he's saying it like a good thing. He's not like freaking out, you know. It's very odd where we're going with Crush right now.
I just don't care.
Do you care about Clarence Mason at all?
I think if they had let him be a lawyer and not a manager, I think it would have remained funny. The fact that he's a manager now, like, put this into kayfabe terms. What the fuck? I know you can say this about most managers, but most managers at least like led to having some success to prove why they're the managing of this in some realm. It's like Clarence Mason came in as a lawyer, and I was like, well, he's representing them. Okay, but like, why is he in? Like, what is he managing? What is he telling them about fucking wrestling?
Yeah, what value?
He's perfect as like this other side lawyer guy to just talk. That's fine.
Well, it's interesting because it's almost like in this time that we're seeing when WWF kind of gives up on the manager role a little bit. Because like, even think like Sunny has randomly stopped managing Farouk all of a sudden. Right? Like, she's not
managing anyone right now.
Yeah. She doesn't have the Donnas. She doesn't have Bart and Billy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So like, you can see this is kind of the time when they're first starting to inch their way away from having managers mean anything. Yeah.
Shame. Wow. Although there's too many managers in WCW, so I guess I'm okay with it. Not too many managers, but too many managers doing too many things in WCW.
Well, yeah, because that's fair. Because like, there's a lot of managers in AEW today, but like, it doesn't feel like too.
But they don't do that much. Like, you don't feel their presence. Where in WCW, how many segments was Teddy Long and how many segments is Jimmy Hart, and like, those dudes just take over, which is so annoying.
Yeah. Jimmy Hart, Colonel Robert Parker. Like, yeah, how many decisions are they involved with in a single? Because like, I guess that used to be sort of the thought, was that like a manager has to somehow interfere and cause a finish or whatever. But then like, that's not really the case anymore today. Like, yeah, of course it still happens, but I think maybe like Paul Heyman's a big part of that kind of going away, because if you think about him as the advocate for Brock Lesnar, I don't think he's ever got involved in a Brock Lesnar match.
No.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just a curious observation.
That's because Brock is a real champion, where Cody needs his manager to get involved.
Who do you think Nyla Rose's manager is going to be?
Awesome Kong.
Hey man, I'm into it. Awesome Kong is great. Met her at a Northeast Wrestling show once. Very sweet.
Yeah, she could. We know she could talk, and if she can't get in the ring, maybe this is a good way to use her.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about it if that's the way we go.
You heard it here first, folks.
Woo! Scooped on Monday Night Pod.
Take that, Dave Meltzer.
Anyway, where the hell were we?
I'll do it like Dave Meltzer does it. Adam, a source told me that it's Awesome Kong, so there you go.
Hey, I was that source.
There you go. Where the hell are we? Next up, we get a little recap of Mr. Perfect and Hunter stuff from last week. We find out that Gorilla has suspended Perfect indefinitely they don't really spell this out, but he suspends him from wrestling because he's literally announcing the show that he's supposedly suspended off of. So that's just another excuse for why he never gets back in the ring, which, as I said weeks ago, he never does in the WWF. Next up, it's our next Karate Fighters Holiday Tournament. Speaking of Mr. Perfect, it's Perfect versus Phineas in our first round. Perfect says, what did he say? Dolly Parton's there or something? Who did he mention?
Oh, yeah, Dolly Parton.
So they're doing their thing. Goes, oh, is that Dolly Parton? Phineas, whoa, and Perfect.
Yeah, well, they have these individual intros with both of them kind of talking about why they're going to win. And, you know, Phineas is just like total full-blown hillbilly. Actually kind of silly. I'm kind of like watching this and chuckling at it because of how silly it is. Is it compelling? No, but it's enjoyable.
I mean, he's named Phineas only for on their stupid bracket they could say PIG.
Oh man, PIG and HSG.
Next up. Next week they announced, this is huge. Next week they announced that Brian Pillman is going to be live in his house. We know what that means. We come back to Austin.
Boy.
We come back to Austin, who's still pissed that the WF didn't go live to his house. He's like, oh, you go to Calgary, you go to Tennessee or Kentucky, whatever.
You ain't coming to Victoria, Texas.
Right. He announces that, guess what? He'll be there too. Oh, God, we know what's going to happen. What's of Austin destroying Pillman's ankle again? This is where the Pillmanizing term comes from. Was that moment right there?
The ankle destroying?
Yeah, with the steel chair. Austin, and then we see that Austin wouldn't let the ambulance leave that arena either. He first steals a limo, blocks the ambulance from leaving, then like gets in the face of the ambulance driver, takes the keys and throws them. He says, DTA, don't trust anybody. Which I always thought was, does he change it over the years? Because I always thought it was funnier because he said, all right, this is maybe the last time I'll do this. He goes, DTA, don't trust nobody.
You know, I remember "Don't Trust Anybody" being on like T-shirts and stuff a lot.
Yeah, like it always was I just remember being DTA. Like I think that's yeah.
I remember mostly being on T-shirts. Like I don't remember it being like in Stone Cold promos where he's saying, you know, DTA. You know, kind of. But man, what a lit episode of Superstars that was.
Mm-hmm. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah,
I guess this Pillman had to be rushed into surgery, and they're like, well, we have Raw taped. Let's just play this out on Superstars or whatever, you know?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because you can see every element of this story that's being told is not being done in the arena in any way.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
that's something that stands out years on. But at the time, I would have been like, oh my God, this Stone Cold guy is crazy.
Right. Vince then questions why Gorilla hasn't done anything to Austin. Austin says, you know why. You're a greedy promoter who needs Austin versus Bret Hart. That's why you're the real boss pulling the strings, not Gorilla. Stop messing around.
This is fun, man. Yeah, no, it is true. The no bullshit Stone Cold is best Stone Cold.
We come back for commercial, and now it's split screen Austin Bret Hart. Bret has his children with him, but as soon as Bret tries to speak, the audio is fucked up, so we cut away, and we will come back to that. First, though, Sonny comes out in a all red leather skirt and jacket. King and Vince pretty much come in their pants, and joins commentary as the next match is going to begin.
Yep. Coming down to your favorite music. Now.
Yep, stripper music, or Vince's idea of what stripper music is, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
Anyway, the next match is Billy Gunn versus Freddie Joe Floyd. This match goes 3 minutes. We see clips and Superstars for the weekend of the Guns fighting and Billy leaving Bart in the ring during the match. Sonny talks about always liking Billy more than Bart. He's the cuter one. Bart comes out the ringside and gets in Billy's face. Billy yells that Bart is nothing as referees try and separate them. Billy then gets back in the ring, hits a stun gun and a flying leg drop for the win.
There it is. And you know what? Freddie Joe Floyd was who I was confusing Salvatore Sincere with earlier. Just checking back on my stuff here. Not too much else to say about all that, though. You know, story again, it's not that of the match. It's all about Sonny. It's all about them talking
Right.
and everything.
Which is okay when it's Billy Gunn versus Freddie Joe Floyd. I don't really care about that. So
yeah, and
I'm
also
okay
like,
with it here.
do you have a jobber singles match with your tag team star? Is interesting.
Well. They don't want him to be a tag team star very much longer. That's what they're building towards.
Oh, that's true.
Do you know why? Do you know one of the reasons why, according to Bruce Pritchard at least, Billy Gunn has never seen that much success as a single star, as many opportunities as they gave him to do that? Why he's seen more
I've
success
not
as a tag
heard
team
this.
wrestler?
Why don't you tell us, Share Bear?
One of the reasons is that he has asthma. So as a single star, he gets blown up very easily. So the matches could only have so much happening, and they're honestly hard on him. Where obviously as a tag team, he's able to take the breaks that he needs to succeed, which is why they kept trying to make him a single star and eventually always going back to him being in a tag team.
Right. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I never heard of that. And I guess it's interesting because he's still kind of, flirting with the idea of tag teams, teaming up with his son.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see where more of that comes in, because he looks good recently in his singles match against MJF.
Yeah,
but
still
it wasn't
like
like
a big hoss.
Yeah, and it wasn't like a short, bullshit singles match either. It was, they actually did some stuff. But it's a very interesting note. You can always learn something on Monday Night Pod.
But you could always learn something on Something to Wrestle with Bruce Pritchard, and I'll just tell you what I learned from listening to his podcast.
Well, you didn't listen to it and you're listening here. Come on.
There you go. For those of you that haven't listened to it.
So many ways.
Anyway, we go back to Austin and Bret. This time it's the audio is working. Bret says that Austin is great, but not the reason he stepped away. Austin's, he's like, Austin's really, really great, but I wasn't afraid of him. Austin's like, no, I can't do his voice anymore. Austin says, no, you stepped away because you're afraid of Austin. Bret says that there might be some ring rust, but who knows? This is Austin is the best wrestler, until he makes his comeback. They just go back and forth a little bit. Pretty much overall, it's like Bret is like, well, I'm gonna wrestle Austin, and Austin's like, goddamn Bret Hart and kick her ass. Like it is the dichotomy between the two is unbelievable. Bret like lulling you to sleep, and Austin just going off.
Yeah,
Bret does not come off very good here, in my opinion.
No, I mean he comes off like not really knowing what's coming at him, which is great. I mean that's a big part of the Stone Cold rise and everything. It's just this spitfire that can't be stopped or whatever. And you have Bret Hart with his kind of like methodical Canadian kind of way of going about things. And I'm going to come back, and he's the best wrestler in the World Wrestling Federation. And oh, you Bret Hart, you hiding up there in Canada. You won't come down here. It's great. Like we were talking about. Stone Cold being let off the leash, just being himself and being these two, you'd say larger than life in a way, because you can almost describe Bret that way, because he's just like so kind of laser focused on things and boring, but like it's not a not compelling boring right now.
I think just especially like we saw this when they did this with him and Diesel, which went very long, but I remember liking Bret more there. I think just sort of against Austin, it's even more obvious.
That one, anyway. I mean, also Diesel was like, how much more boring of a character was Diesel?
I guess so. He was just Big Daddy Cool.
Yeah, he's just like laid back. He's just like in it for. I mean, he's in it for himself, but like he was also, was he a heel at that time or a face? I can't remember.
He was, I believe, a tweener.
Yeah, it's kind of a tweener, but like, but he wasn't like somebody who, especially in those interviews, it wasn't like, oh yeah, I want this guy to win. Like, oh, cheer for this guy against Bret.
Right.
It didn't work nearly as well here. Like, you need that like unpredictable Spitfire, Hellcat that's Stone Cold right now.
Well, speaking of that, Austin's yelling. Vince tries to end it, and Austin yells that he has more to say. He beats up a PA and then starts destroying the studio as they cut away.
I think Vince made another joke about a lawsuit coming, but
Yes.
saying it jovially.
Anyway, next up, it's our main event. British Bulldog, or WWF Tag Team Champion British Bulldog, with Clarence Mason and Owen Hart versus our WWF Champion Shawn Michaels, and Jose Lothario is still there. This match goes 11 minutes and 15 seconds. Owen is on commentary. I'll just get to the end and we can talk about it. Shawn calls the Sweet Chin Music. Owen grabs his ankle, and it's a DQ.
That's getting right to the end of it. Not a bad match overall, I didn't think. Pretty technical, kind of slow starting-y.
Bulldog just has all these rest holds. He's always stalling. The only thing that was honestly interesting to me was that at one point, I think Bulldog tosses him on the ropes or something, hangs Shawn Michaels up on the ropes, and the crowd erupts.
Yeah, I was going to say it helps that the crowd is super hot.
But they're hot to see the biggest babyface in the company get hurt, which is interesting and will lead to what we see play out at Survivor Series in the next few weeks. The writing was on the wall. Yes. It's just going through these matches, especially in 1995 and 1996 now. Did Bulldog ever have a good match that wasn't against Bret Hart? Like an actual good match?
Oh.
That I would want to watch.
Singles match, you're asking?
Singles match.
Yeah, because I was going to say, we could probably think of some tag team matches, but you're right.
It's okay, he had a 1992, he had a match with Bret that was amazing. That wouldn't have been as amazing if it wasn't in fucking England. Great. What about the 20 plus years of his career? I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I've yet to be impressed. He puts guys in sleepers and plays the strength game, which, okay, but it just not working. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was more suited as a tag team wrestler, but he had just such a great physique that, in a similar way to maybe into the Steiners, the British Bulldogs were a good tag team. They had good matches. They were exciting to watch.
Him and Owen were a great tag team.
Yeah, they're Bulldog and Owen, a great tag team. I guess it could be like how Scott Steiner and Rick Steiner were a great tag team. Scott Steiner's single stuff, while he's been a tag team wrestler with Rick, we've seen him do a couple of cool singles matches, but not as a big body of work as a singles guy. His thing is more about, you think of his character, of his chainmail. Right. You think of some of the lower points, the slip with Test and everything like that. So, that's a good point, because I'd always kind of in the back of my head thought, oh, British Bulldog, man, he was one of those coulda, shoulda, woulda been champions, and then when you kind of really break it down, maybe not so much.
Nope. Anyway, after the match, obviously it's 2-1, so Sid runs down to even odds again. More issues, though, as Sid accidentally elbows Shawn. Sid and Shawn start shoving and yelling at each other. Owen gets on the mic and challenges them to a match, I think next week, and he says, "We're putting the WWF Tag Team Champions on the line." The worst Owen Hart impression of all time. But yeah, so they're going to be forced to tag team next week against Owen and British Bulldog.
Yeah, that's an exciting match, but what a stupid thing for Owen to do.
Yeah, I don't really understand it at all.
Yeah,
shouldn't he say oh, let's face off, and Shawn and Sid go, only if the belts are on the line, and Owen and Davey Boy are like, oh, we really want them in the ring, so sure, we'll do anything. We could beat you.
Yeah, or they could do even though it's hard to get a pop from a crowd when you start using too many words and make it too complicated, but if you guys beat us next week, we'll give you a shot at these tag team titles, that kind of thing. You got to earn it. Or let's see, we just saw, did we have Owen versus Sid a couple weeks ago or something? Hey, let's have. Well, we just had Bulldog versus Shawn. Hey, let's have Owen versus Sid. And you know what? Then after that, we could talk about possibly.
Well, I see the point of it on the bigger level of the idea is these guys are about to implode. Force them to be a tag team, and they will implode faster.
Yeah.
I think that's what Owen was thinking. Yes, I agree that I don't understand why they get a championship match, but
Yeah, right.
whatever.
Well, anyway, I think that's the end of the show.
No, it's not the end of the show. No.
Yes, exactly.
No, we cut back to WWF Studios. Austin is being escorted out of the building by security. And throughout the main event, Vince has been saying that they called the police up in Connecticut.
Yeah, the cops are on their way.
Yep, and as Austin walks out, the police arrive to confront him. So we don't see what happens, but very well could be the first of many times Vince and Austin have each other arrested.
That's true. You know, we gotta start once all that goes down. We gotta start keeping a handcuff count or something like that. Seeing who put each other in handcuffs more. I'd enjoy that.
One of the worst tropes in wrestling history.
Oh yeah. You think so?
It makes no sense. Guys assault each other every single. There's no line of when the police should get involved and when they shouldn't. Austin put Triple H into a car, pulled it up in a forklift, then dropped it over, murdering Triple H, but no police were called.
Yeah, we've seen many murders. We've seen murders recently in wrestling. What was probably the last murder? Was it Rey Mysterio and Aleister Black getting thrown off of the building by Corbin?
Yes, they thank God for that second roof, Adam.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, well, in the wide shot you can see it clearly.
Who else got murdered? I don't remember.
I mean, you could almost claim that people got murdered in the Stadium Stampede, maybe, or at least attempted murder of Matt Hardy.
Attempted murder for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, attempted murder multiple times. But I'd say Santana getting thrown into a freezer and locked in there. It's attempted.
Attempted for sure.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess AEW hasn't really straight out murdered anybody yet. Yes.
Not yet. What character could be the first one to do it?
Probably Abaddon, the zombie lady. Because what? It looks with the gimmick.
I was gonna say Lance Archer.
He'll murder somebody.
Yeah.
But he won't get murdered.
Oh no, I meant who was going to murder somebody, not who would be murdered.
Oh, yeah. Lance Archer. I'd lean that way.
Or maybe they murder one of Matt Hardy's characters. I mean, he has 6 of them, so they can murder one of them to bring out another one. That makes sense, right?
Keeping them all alive at the same time right now is pretty glorious.
And he hasn't even debuted. What's the other dumb one?
Money Matt?
Yeah, Money Matt. Yeah, whatever he calls that one.
The other dumb one. It's good. Well, anyway, off topic. How do you feel about Raw, Jabber?
I feel good. No matches to actually see, but that's okay. I enjoyed the show.
Yeah. It had a nice pace to it. It moved along. And,
it's the Austin show. You can't complain.
Exactly. It's this stone cold energy. There's nothing in ring that's great. There's nothing that happened in their entire tapings that they did for this episode that's great. But if you're curious, you can see what Jesse James looked like when he made his debut as the real Double J. But yeah, it's all about the Stone Cold show. You are right. However,
next week it's going to be.
Oh boy. Little tease.
We're gonna have to do a deep dive on that.
If there was ever a time for you to introduce your friends to Monday Night Pod and tell them they got to start listening, it's this week, because next week we are going to have some discussions. Woo!
I'll save it. I'll save all of it. Anyway, let's go to Nitro, though. This episode 59 of Nitro, they are live in the America West Arena in Phoenix, Arizona. Tony and Larry open the show. They talk about Halloween Havoc last night. Outsiders are our new tag team champions. Hogan remains champion, but Hot Rod Roddy Piper is here.
It sounds like there was
for
also
WCW last night.
Yeah, it sounds like if you can believe it, it sounds like there were a lot of shenanigans at Halloween Havoc. There's a lot of fallout from Slim Jim Presents Halloween Havoc. Sorry, I forgot
Yes.
Slim Jim Presents Halloween Havoc.
Obviously.
Yes. But yeah, I'm excited to get into the fallout here. Let's see what we got, Nitro.
You know, it'd be funny. It'd be great if we could be, if like when these episodes come up of these pay-per-views, if we could be sponsored by the original sponsor of those pay-per-views.
Oh man.
Like, let's get a sponsored deal with karate fighters.
Oh, dude, in a heartbeat. I think it's probably going to be easier to get a sponsored deal from karate fighters than it would be to get from like 1-800-COLLECT.
True. That sucks. Anyway, first match here, so television championship is on the line. Steven Regal's back. Woo! Versus Juventud Guerrera. So now Juventud Guerrera, who continues to lose and not look great, now has his fourth title match.
Television title, yeah. Yeah,
he's had a cruiserweight championship match, a U.S. championship match, a tag team championship match, and now a television championship match. What the hell?
This kid has impressed some people somehow. I don't know, because it wasn't in the ring quite yet.
He keeps losing in kayfabe and real terms. Nothing. Why does he deserve these championship matches?
They found such lightning in a bottle with Rey Mysterio Jr. that I think they're like, oh, whoa, luchadors, young luchadors. We gotta get young luchadors.
I have no problem with that. I just don't understand why he keeps getting title matches.
So they picked Hoovy because they were like, all right, this is the guy. This is going to be the other Rey Mysterio. Clearly, he's not. But
But maybe if you gave him wins, he could have been.
Maybe, but also just from a performance perspective, he's not nearly as crisp as Ray.
No. Anyway, this match goes 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Sting is in the building, hanging out in the upper bowels of the arena.
By the way, we're full Crow Sting right now.
Yeah, it only took a week, and he's pretty much in it. Six comes out through the stands with the mic and welcomes us to NWO Nitro. He says that he wants that cruiserweight belt. Hoovy misses the 450 splash, and Regal locks on the Regal stretch for the win.
Did you notice who was in front of Six in the crowd when he was in there? I'm like 90% sure this is true. That's Justin Roberts right there in front of.
Well, Adam, I have it right in front of me.
There you go. It's like a 16-year-old Justin Roberts or 14-year-old Justin Roberts or something. You'll see it.
Oh, shit.
Six goes. All right. So
I have it right here.
Jared already walked through it. I can paint a picture with words. The match is starting. It's supposed to be going, except nobody's paying attention to this opening title match. It's the TV title.
They're all looking up. Yep. I have it right here.
Everyone's looking at.
They're all looking up.
Everyone's looking around. Everybody's.
You think he's right in front of him?
Yeah, you'll see him down and to the right. I know this is.
Down and to the right.
This is great pod for.
I know.
Very clear in the frame in front of Six.
Oh! I saw the top of his head. Oh, wait, the sign's passed. If he turns around, God damn it, get the signs out of the way, you pieces of shit.
Yep.
I saw a point of him.
Yep.
All right, here we go. We got a clean shot here. Let me.
That's him.
God damn it! By pausing it, I have like the things in the way. You piece of shit.
I'm telling you, that is him right there.
Oh, you know what, Adam? I got a great shot of him.
Well,
I'll put it on Twitter. We'll ask him.
Okay.
We'll say, yo, Justin Roberts, forget about the heat we all got with you. Just tell us if, this is.
Hey, man, him and my heat, that's old. That's old heat.
I got heat too.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know that you guys had heat also.
Justin Roberts has heat everywhere.
A heat magnet. Look at that.
Anyway.
So much heat that he managed to get in front of Six talking about Nitro. There you go. There you go. Anyway, all right. So nobody paid attention to this match. Did we talk about the finish?
Yeah, we got through the finish right.
Yeah,
you didn't pay attention either, I guess.
That's right. Yeah. It's funny because there's two moves in this match. It's Hoovy missing that front splash, and then the 450 splash, and then it's just Regal stretch is such a good finisher. It's like really, really watching him wrench in on that. I'm a a big fan of that. And I'd like to see someone bring it back. So the task is out there now. Maybe we can go to that indie wrestler that we came up with named Bull Shark.
There you go. After match, Tony tries to interview Regal. He's like, okay, we're going to interview Steven Regal here. Steven's walking in the other direction. Okay, then we try and full time for 20 seconds. Nope, Steven Regal's not going to come. Okay, well, we'll just go to commercial.
He points out Sting too. He's like, by the way, we got a Stinger. He's up in the crowd. He's looks different. Surely a lot on his mind. And then like he gets up and walks out.
Regal just forgot he was supposed to do the interview.
That's your TV champion right there. He knows. That's good.
We come back, and it's DDP versus Mike Enos. This match goes 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Our new WCW Tag Team Champions come out to the NWO entrance in the stands. Sure. Diamond Cutter ends it, though.
Yeah.
As the outsiders cheer on. What does that mean?
Well, could mean many things. But it also means that the Diamond Cutter is over as fuck. You know? I love it's only a couple of times I could really point it out happening in wrestling events, but God dang it, what were their names? There was a match at ECW One Night Stand, I believe the original one.
Mm-hmm.
It was they had JBL and the whole guys who were up there just like shit on the show the whole time, and they were shitting on it the whole time. But then there was that totally bananas match between Mike Awesome and I want to say Pat Tanaka or something like that.
It was no, not Pat Tanaka. Masahiro Chono, right? No, something like that.
Let's see. Nope. Masato Tanaka. That's it.
Oh, so if you combine both of our answers, we came up with the right person.
Sorry, Masato Tanaka. It was a great match. But yeah,
it is one of the most disgusting matches you'll ever see. It's a hard match to watch.
Oh yeah. It's if you're not into chair shots, unprotected chair shots to the brain, then that match is not for you. But throughout that match, you start with your heels who are in the crowd who are supposed to be shitting on things, and the match was just like so bananas that like even by the end of it, JBL was like, you can see him like in the crowd dumbfounded, just like flat amazement on his face for the match. And that's partially how I was reading what was going on with this. I mean, obvious with the outsiders cheering on DDP and the Diamond Cutter, because obviously on one hand, the announcers and we as an audience are supposed to be wondering like, oh, is maybe DDP involved with the NWO in some way? But I also like thinking of it like the Diamond Cutter is just so fucking awesome and so fucking over with everybody that even the outsiders are like, hell yeah, the Diamond Cutter. That's how I like to read that one.
All right. Maybe. Next up, we see photos of Dean Malenko winning the Cruiserweight Championship last night off of Ray Ray. But next up, it's a match. Jim Powers, Teddy Long versus our new Cruiserweight Champion, Dean Malenko. Speaking of Dean, this match goes 5 minutes. Nick Patrick is our ref, immediately gets into Teddy Long. Remember, every week they seem to be having some kind of giant argument. At one point, Psychosis makes his return and stands on a ramp to watch. Another favorite of wrestling trope of everybody's, just come out and look at the match. Jim Powers hits a power slam, but Teddy Long and Nick Patrick start yelling at each other again, so Nick Patrick is not able to make the pin count. Powers gets up and is distracted. He's like, hey, what the hell? And that allows Dean to like jump on his back and roll him up for the win.
Yeah, this was I don't expect a ton out of Jim Powers, but there was a lot of rest holds in this match, a lot of side headlocks. I was thinking, like, why are we getting so many side headlocks for a Dean Malenko match? Like, did he tweak his knee last night or something in the Ray match? It was odd, but yeah, this is boring and not worth spending a lot of time on. Sorry.
Nope, it's pretty much more about Teddy Long and Nick Patrick anyway.
Yeah, making their next move forward.
Right. Next up, Ricky Morton versus Jeff Jarrett. This match goes 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Boy. Figure four is locked on, and Ricky Morton gives up.
Yeah. Uh, you know, it's not a bad match. Not a bad little quick match. There's like they do a lot of reversals and stuff like that. I mean, I'm a big Ricky Morton fan. I'll admit, I like Ricky Morton. It's interesting to see him just like come out as a singles guy. He doesn't have Robert Gibson anywhere with him. But yeah, this was fine, and I think they're doing a good job these couple of weeks of introducing Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah. Anyway, Giant comes out to the stands with the U.S. belt. He did not win the U.S. belt. It is still Ric Flair's, but the NWO beat the shit out of Ric Flair last night. So he is holding on to the belts. I believe it's last night. They're not still talking about it from a few weeks ago. Anyway, whatever it is. He threatens Jeff because Jeff is a friend of the Horsemen. Giants, sorry. Rambles on and on and on and on and on. He finally leaves. Then Tony interviews Jeff ringside. Calls out the Giant to finish it, but Giant obviously isn't there. He talks about what happens at Havoc last night. Says that the NWO and their walls will crumble, but WCW has to unite for that to happen. There are too many factions and too many groups all feuding with each other, and they have to come together if they want to beat the NWO.
Yeah, and on top of all that, Jarrett did not deliver those thoughts quite as poignant and clear as Jeremy just did right now.
Yeah.
He stumbled his way through a lot of the lines in this.
Yes.
Quite a couple of fumbles. But you know what? Like, the crowd is decently behind Jeff Jarrett. They're not, like, going crazy for him. He's not the most over. I mean, like, Chris Jericho's a more over face in WCW right now than Jeff Jarrett is, I'd say. Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Okay. Next up, though, before that happens, it is High Voltage versus the Amazing French Canadians. This match goes 3 minutes and 45 seconds. You know the gimmick. Amazing French Canadians go to sing the Canadian national anthem. High Voltage attacks from behind. Hour 2 begins in the middle of the match, so they cut away for 45 seconds of pyro instead of showing us the match. At the end of the day, Nasty Boys run in, attack High Voltage for the DQ.
Yep. I had a thought. Do you think you've heard any other national anthem in your life interrupted as many times as you've heard the Canadian national anthem interrupted? I just had that thought during this the start of this. I was like, because I've thought many times also.
Maybe the Russian one.
Do you think you've heard that one?
Okay. Which one is in WWF? When Nikolai Volkov.
Yeah, this is Nikolai Volkov and Iron Sheik. Yeah.
He used to always sing it. I imagine he was interrupted all the time, right?
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, of all the wrestling that you've watched, because as you previously mentioned, we've watched more wrestling than the Royal You. We've watched more wrestling than you. And in all of that wrestling, like, if you were to add up the total hours of wrestling that you've watched, all the episodes and all the national anthems that you've seen interrupted, Russia would probably be number 2 for me. I think Canada would be number 1 because I think Canada had a longer run. Russia was like in the 80s more so. Like,
yeah, but then Rusev brought it back.
But they weren't interrupting the Russian national anthem every week.
Sure. That wasn't the gimmick.
Yeah, that wasn't the gimmick. Now, when Canadian national anthem interrupting came around, like, that came around in the 90s and stuck its way through a good amount of the 2000s. And even probably some of the 2010s if we were to look around.
Yeah, Vince's idea of who's evil is very odd. I know we've talked about this before, but this is like a year ago. The people that forgetting about Russia for a moment here, most of the countries Vince has evil foreigners from are some of America's greatest allies. Canada, Japan, India, Great Britain. The strongest American allies Vince always has to be evil foreigners. It makes no sense.
Well, it might make sense if you're a bit of a xenophobe, but yeah. Yeah, right. I'm not trying to. I mean, hey, xenophobe that doesn't necessarily have to be. I think that can just be outside of your own country.
Yeah, I think it's whatever country.
Yeah,
it's a very odd Even I feel like the most crazy xenophobes are like Canadians, who cares?
Yeah, right. Like,
Reed Vince like, no, god damn it, they're evil.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is fun. That was my thought. Nasty Boys out there though, they haven't left yet though by the end of this.
No, they got on the mic, talk about what NW did to them last week, talk about, Hogan giving t-shirts, saying to come out, blah, blah, blah. They say that they're nasty and let's get ready to rumble. Whoa, we're nasty.
Yeah, they're like, we don't care. We don't need a place to belong. We've never belonged.
Right. So I guess it's a good direction for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's them and Sting, the only people not associated with anybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean it makes them stand out, and it really feels true to their characters as well.
Next up, it's Jimmy Graffiti versus Rey Mysterio Jr. This match goes 3 minutes 30 seconds. Ray has his flying boots on. He is just hopping and bopping and jumping all over the ring. Eventually, springboard into a Hurricanrana ends it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good way to describe it is that he's just jumping all over the ring. It's very tough to pull out like the like specific spots on it, but like it's good. It's all good.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's a young baby Ray.
Yeah, and Jimmy Graffiti's putting in his part too, like for what
he could go.
Okay,
he's doing his job well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for having not super impressed last week, it was a little more impressive here. Also during this match, I was laughing at like how out of his way Bischoff was going to make sure there was clarification that Roddy Piper is not signed with WCW. They just gave him, 5
minutes
opportunity to speak. Yeah, he said that he had something he had to say that had to be live.
Yes, pretty much the excuse for, again, I hate spoiling it for you guys. Roddy's not going to show up on Nitro for another few months. So that's sort of the excuse of like why Roddy showed up last night, but we're not going to see him, is that he just wanted his 5 minutes. He said what he had to say, and he bounced.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, we shall see a lot more of that tonight. We'll get there.
Yes. Next up, though, Eric Tenane. He didn't talk about what Lex Luger did to Arn Anderson last night. I actually sent him to the hospital. Then it's our 1-800 on the road, 1-800 collect on the road report with Lee Marshall. He's in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And then our next match, it's Chris Benoit with Woman versus Eddie Guerrero. You should be salivating, but meh. Match goes 8 minutes and 30 seconds. Both of them are sort of selling the injuries from the pay-per-view last night. Benoit is like all wrapped up. Mongo and Deborah come out down to ringside at one point. We also cut backstage to Jimmy Hart and Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan says, "Woman is the ultimate destruction of us all." Yikes. In our unfortunate moments of the week. But it looks like him and Benoit are going to start feuding again. Lots of stretch holds here instead of just like we know these two can go, but they decide to sort of play more into, we're both hurt, so we're both going to do whatever. Match ends when Woman distracts Nick Patrick. Of course, he's referee. Mongo gets in a ring, pretends to hit Eddie in the head, but instead shoves the briefcase into his gut, and Benoit covers him for the win.
That damn Halliburton, man. Mongo and that damn Halliburton. Here we go.
Yeah.
This was, like you said, it was something that, like, on paper, you're like, oh, yeah, here we go, Benoit Guerrero. And then the match is very not anything there. So.
Nope.
There you go.
There you go. Next up, Tony's going to interview Nick Patrick, but Nick Patrick has a new attorney, apparently, the white Clarence Mason, to speak for him. He blames all the controversy surrounding Patrick on Chris Jericho, actually, because last night Chris Jericho attacked him, which caused Nick Patrick to re-injure his neck, which caused him then to screw up the finish of the Hogan Savage match. Jericho comes out and says that nothing is wrong with his neck and accuses him of being in the NWO. Laura says that Jericho needs some counseling. He's like, were you angry as a child, Jericho? Teddy Longman comes out and says Nick Patrick has been sandbagging his whole time.
Yeah, this is part of what I was getting into about Jericho being super over. So, because the crowd does like pop real good for Jericho when he comes out. Yeah, I mean, this Alan Sharp guy is not. He's not live TV good. I suspect that they got like a real actor to do this.
Oh, I think the opposite. I suspect that they got a real lawyer to do this.
Oh, okay.
Which WCW has done before. They were just like, why don't we just have the real lawyer do it?
Well, if it was, he was doing like the cartoon version of a lawyer, like
yes,
kind of like probably how they hoped that Clarence Mason would be, but he's doing a very like kind of like threatening to sue them for slander. Yeah, it's silly, but it's not that good.
Well, just like again, like this is the storyline we want to know with Teddy Long versus Nick Patrick is the long-term booking. It's like, ugh, who cares?
Yeah, right, for sure.
Anyway, next up, Booker T with Sherry versus Lex Luger. This match goes 9 minutes. We cut backstage to Colonel Robert Parker, who says that there isn't a problem. They talked about the Harlem Heat obviously lost tag team championships last night. They made it clear that it might have been Colonel Robert Parker's fault, but he says that there's no issues with him in the Harlem Heat, and we shouldn't worry about it. We'll talk about this in a second. Anyway, Booker misses the Harlem Hangover, and Lex calls it a rack. But as he's going to go for it, he sees Sting up in the rafters, and he just runs after him. He's like, oh, fuck this, and runs into the stands. He's counted out, and Booker gets the win. The Colonel Robert Parker thing is like, this is late 1996 now. We are pretty much in what we consider modern wrestling. We got past, as we spoke about at the top of the show, this sort of like weird time, and now we're like in it. Yet we still have a character who's Elmer fucking Fudd.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
He's more.
Like, oh my god,
he's more Foghorn Leghorn than Elmer Fudd.
Yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking of. I got the name. I got the characters.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just like,
painting the right picture here for y'all. But he's very very much. I'll say this was not my mistake last night. Harlem Heat is gonna come back and win those tag team championships. By golly, it's definitely like still it's Looney Tunes. Now I like this Looney Tunes more than I like the Alan Sharp Looney Tunes that we were talking about. But yeah, it's still weird to see that amongst, as you were saying, what is widely recognized as modern day wrestling.
Yeah, the match was whatever.
I thought it was a decent little match, actually. The ending was kind of dumb, but like the match itself, I was like throughout, I was like, oh yeah, this Booker T and like peak Lex Luger going at it,
but not yet peak Booker T.
No. Booker. Well. There's a lot of disagreement, a lot of discussion about what peak Booker T is.
Interesting. What would you say it is?
Oh, peak Booker T to me isn't even Booker T. Peak Booker T is King Booker.
I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see that.
The light wave. I was a fan of King Booker forever after he said there was one specific promo he was talking against, I think it was Batista, and he referred to SummerSlam as the SummerSlam Games. I was like, that promo right there, I was like, I'm a fan for life of this gimmick. He called it the SummerSlam Games.
Do you know that since Booker came to the WWFE in 2001, he has not cut his hair?
Wow. Really?
It is literally like to his knees. His hair is so long.
Wow. That's kind of gross and weird, but each their own. Well, he looks good with the short hair. He also looks good with the long hair. I mean, it's a good looking fella. Great wrestler. 2-time Hall of Famer. Could be a 3-time if they wanted to put him and Goldust in together. That was a hell of a tag team.
Well, he should be. Well, let's see. How else could he get in? What is he in? Booker T and Harlem Heat right now?
Yep.
He could get in. Maybe he is part of the NWO. He could go in as that.
As we've covered very much on this, the barrier to entry with the NWO apparently pretty low. If somebody who is just as consequential as Vincent could be in there.
Anyway, then they decide to show the entire replay of Piper's promo from last night. No edits, no cuts, the whole shebang. Basically, Eric reminds us sort of what you set up, Adam, that Piper asked for 5 minutes, and here we go. And Piper's out there saying, no, Hogan, you never beat me. I'm the bigger Hollywood star. I'm the more important wrestler, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. All super exciting stuff. I mean, you know, it's Piper on the mic, right? So, like, you have arguably the all-time great, like, possibly the best, you know, between him and The Rock. Like, who knows? It's probably those are probably. Would you say those are your 1 and 2?
I mean, I don't know. Just in terms of the one-liners, I would definitely say they're both maybe 1 and 2.
Well, no, I mean, I can't even think of one-liners that Piper had. Piper didn't really.
Oh, he's always sitting those little jabs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, like that. I thought you meant.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm confusing one-liners with catchphrases.
Oh no, I just mean like the little pop, 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 pop.
Yeah. It's true. Yeah, Piper, but. Yeah, he's got his little valid points here that he's going about. You know, I don't know how excited I want to be for like seeing Piper and Hogan feud in 1996, but like, whatever. Nitro's doing some interesting stuff.
Adam, if you're not sure about it now, guess what? It continues for a few years. 1996 is the peak of them feuding in WCW. Unfortunately, it never ends. Anyway, we come back to the arena, and Hulk Hogan is out there with Ted DiBiase. Hogan gets like a whole big spotlight on him in the ring. It says that
cool
the
look
end.
Visually.
What's that?
Visually, it's a really cool look.
Yeah. He says that the NWO have won. He says that he has respect for Macho Man, but he couldn't get the job done last night, so he'll take real good care of Liz. Don't worry about it. Talks about all the gold that they now have. Hands Ted the mic. Ted says that they have finally built the foundation so they could really, really entertain. And he says he's going to really, like, they're going to show us something. And I'm waiting for, like, somebody to come out or something to happen. And Hogan just does, like, the Hogan pose and rips his shirt off, which I guess, looking back, maybe he hasn't done that as NWO Hollywood Hogan.
Not in a pro.
Is that what they're in?
Nitro.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a confusing way to end Nitro. Not a good way.
Yeah, for sure. It petered out a little bit. I liked, you know, Lex Luger versus Booker T would have been a higher point to go out on, I think.
No, I mean, I think you could go out on Hogan Ted, but it just like it dragged, as a lot of these Hogan promos do. And then they set up to this big moment that just didn't land, or at least didn't land for me. I don't know.
No, nothing happened. So, and it's not like we even know. So Piper's not around. Hogan said like that he's actually better than Piper. What Piper said yesterday is bullshit. And now we're just we just still don't know who's going for the WCW title next.
Well, the next pay-per-view is World War III, so that might be the reason why. I don't know. Maybe Hogan. My guess is Hogan does not put the title line at that pay-per-view and get a new contender from the 3-ring battle royal.
Yeah. Well.
So there you go. But that's Nitro.
That is Nitro. How you feeling, Jerry Bear? What was your favorite thing?
My favorite thing.
No, you know, the funny thing is, I'll let you think about it for a second, but just speaking out loud on it is like, here's another Nitro that like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. It's not like, we're in exciting times for Nitro. We're in like WCW, or we're in like NWO, fucking powerful, taking over times that like, you think everything is hot and crazy. But like this episode, not so much. There's not really anything I can go back here and say that like this was a great thing on Nitro this week that you have to go back and see.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like they run things into the ground so quick. Think about the segments that we saw tonight. How many times did you see Nick Patrick being a fuck up? How many times did you see the NWO coming out to that little arena entranceway and like just watching the match or something. Like,
Yeah.
how many times did you say it's just like the same thing over and over and over and over and over again?
Yeah.
And
I'm
it's
already
just
super
like,
tired of Nick Patrick. Super tired of Nick Patrick.
Right.
So, well, I think we'll both then probably agree on this, that the winner for tonight is the Stone Cold show.
I agree. Raw is better. Whichever one of our amazing listeners is keeping track of this, click it off for Raw. But Adam, as we know, we're in the middle of 83 weeks. So Nitro is not, Raw was not the winner for the audience in 1996. They voted for Nitro with their little clickers. And Nitro got a 3.6 and Raw got a 2.0. A trouncing.
Well, I mean, Raw is new. I mean, just think about the matches that are on there. Like, maybe you want to come in for Shawn Michaels or something like that. But,
yeah.
I mean, what's exciting to tune into? Like, if you're flipping back and forth between the channels, just think of how, like, the good Austin segments were laid out. Like, the chances that you come across any of them, the only one that you might come across is the Bret Hart interview one.
Right, which is the worst part of it.
Yeah, right. So I get it.
I guess so. Well, any final thoughts on the two shows?
Man, I'm just so stoked to see Stone Cold going like whole hog pretty soon. I'm hoping that we get to see well, you know what? I don't want to get too into it because, as we teased earlier, next week is going to be a wild freaking ride. And I'm pretty stoked to dive into that.
Yeah, same. I don't really want to talk about it too much, but it is sort of like, we spoke about when we got to the NWO debut of like, we finally hit it on like our first memorable moment on Nitro.
Yeah.
I feel like next week on Raw, we finally hit that first moment of like, that first moment of Raw.
Yeah. Just I can picture the shot right now, and I'm very excited for this.
It's good. Well, guys, we want to know what you have to think. Who won the Monday Night Wars? Are we right or are we wrong? Tell us what you think by tweeting us at Monday Night Pod on Twitter. You can only tweet us on Twitter, I guess. If you're watching this, though, on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment below and tell us who you think should have won or any other notes. Tell us if you love us. Tell us if you hate us, whatever. If you're listening to this on podcasts, wherever you're listening to us, subscribe, follow. Those are cool buttons to hit. If you're specifically listening to us on Apple Podcasts, you can leave a 5-star review. You can leave a review or say whatever you want or whatever. If you have anything more to say, we have a Facebook page, Monday Night Pod, and you can email us at info@mondaynightpod.com.
Woo! Man, you land that thing every week just so perfect, Jer Bear. You're so good at it.
I wish people listened more to what I had to say, but that's okay.
There's a difference between listening and hearing, but I listened to that. I listen to it every week, and I'm totally fine with it. And I want people to keep listening here. If you want to just hear it, though, while you're, at the gym, maybe
no one's at the gym, Adam.
That's oh boy. Yeah, good point. If you're listening to this at the gym, get your ass home right now.
Make sure you have a mask on.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get myself I saw it on Squared Circle. I think somebody had made themselves a lower half cane mask, 98 cane, and it looked badass.
Why don't you just get the full cane mask? I
don't think you have to cover your eyes like that.
No, I mean, you don't, but I'm just saying, if you're going to do it, might as well, it's a cool mask.
That's true. That's a good point. But I want like a converted one of his like original weird like leather sex dungeon one.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like a plan. We'll have that next week and a lot more.
Maybe we will. All right, Adam. Thanks, guys. Bye.